Hey there, my name is Tracy Bannon. I'm a software architect, engineer, DevOps strategist, and a senior principal with the MITRE Corporation. Let's bring up some slides. So MITRE is a federally funded research and development corporation chartered by U.S. Congress. And much of my focus is working with the U.S. government, but also with the coalitions, partner nations, to solve complex problems with software. Today, I want to share with you what I'm observing as a missing link for DevOps, and that's data. So with the help of conferences like DOES, we are all talking about the challenges of adopting DevOps. Together, we're wading through approaches and learning from one another. We're moving towards a more common understanding of what DevOps is, and we're creating that common lexicon. And we're working together to figure out how to reduce that resistance to change, and how to remove that dev versus ops mentality. We're even learning to rein in our over-focus on tools. Even so, research shows that our quality is not improving at the rates that we expect. I first heard Joe Wessel use this phrase and it resonated with me. Quality is going down the drain with the pipeline. If we are automatically testing, how can quality go down? We're all unit testing, right? We're all focused on code quality and coverage, right? Well, we're adding in some selenium for good measure. If we are automating testing, why are there still quality escapes? We are all familiar with the infinity loop for DevOps by now. And looking at this, can you spot the problem? Notice that test is an isolated step. Simply shifting testing to the left or right into production is not the answer. Quality and testing are part of every aspect of DevOps. We need to rethink the wording of the infinity loop. Testing and quality are the very fabric of the entire repeating lifecycle. So let's draw it like this. We need to be more specific about each and every phase, step, and transition, whatever you want to call those colored chevrons, to call out specifically how to amplify testing and quality. Continuously. Oh yes, I have a love-hate with that word. It makes so much sense, constantly and chronically evaluating and improving. I had an opportunity to meet with Janet Gregory, the co-author of Agile Testing and the founder of the Agile Testing Fellowship. She shared a version of the infinity loop that I can really get behind. The term continuous testing has been hijacked. It was intended to mean focusing on testing and quality across the entire effort. So let's use the term holistic testing to encompass all quality focus. During discovery, plan, and understand, identify risks and test assumptions and build prototypes. During build and deploy, instrument the code, automate tests that include stories and features, infrastructure testing, pipeline, and quality attributes for the whole system. Moving forward to release, observe, and learn. Test in production and observe how customers are using the product and how we should adapt. Well, now that we have a focus on quality throughout, let's talk about other gaps that can reduce the effectiveness of testing. We know about some of the more obvious gaps, about lack of cohesive test planning, about skills gaps and a need for training, about overly fragmented tests. We know that software is still tightly coupled and that there was a flawed belief that architectural design just emerges. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Well, given these known knowns and given that industry is starting to address them, we're still seeing failing tests. According to a 2020 report by Undue Corporation and the Cambridge Judge Business School, failing tests cost enterprise software market $61 billion per year, with nearly 620 million developer hours wasted on debugging. Did you hear that? 620 million hours. This amount is staggering. But why? Why is debugging so difficult? Because we can't reproduce the defects. I sometimes call these phantom defects. A little bit of humor for us. I love this graphic. We have so much available to us, literally decades of test engineering theory on white box testing. And if you're not familiar with white box testing, it means you have access to the code base and you construct your tests based on what you see in the code base. We have direct access to stakeholders, and we have tools, and we have tools, and we have tools. Well, I'd like to share a story with you. For a very large organization, I was an enterprise architect with a team of architects, infrastructure, application, and security, all on my team. And we worked across many lines of business as a shared service capability. The testing group also lived in the same IT shared services organization, ITSS. There was a heavy push for automated testing. Budget clipped the wings of the testing group, and they fell back to muscle memory, manual testing, and it happened late in the cycle. I began to hear reports of inconsistent test results and errors that couldn't be reproduced. Phantom errors. What we uncovered was that some of the applications had heavy state management, and there needed to be refactoring. However, we also found out that the data being used by QA was stale. They didn't reset it after every test cycle, and the quality of the test data, well, it was suspect too. And this really highlights that exercising the code isn't enough. For a test to be valid, there has to be repeatability, and the data has to be reset. Manual exploratory testing, well, that shouldn't be part of the pipeline. It has to be asynchronous and autonomous. Essentially, lack of adequate test data is eating into the productivity gains and into DevOps investments. We need to know that there's a change on the horizon, so let's work at changing the narrative. The mad dash to automate testing has delivery